dentistry and alternative medicine is the most efficient method that safeguards health equity. What modalities do you have in place to regulate the alternative medicine in Nigeria? Would like to know that. That's one. Secondly, I see here that you awarded the contract for the design for the construction of the ICT Center in 2022, amounting to 92 million naira. That's just the architectural works alone, if I'm not mistaken, for an ICT. From my perspective, I would think that's too much. I would like to know, is this being regulated by certain standards put out by the Nigeria Institute of Architects? How do you come about this price, this amount, 92 million naira, just to design an ICT center? And I was also of the opinion maybe if we could duplicate or serve a multi-purpose for any of our existing buildings, like this place in particular could also serve as an ICT center, especially if it is just to conduct exams for foreign medical students, because that's what is stated, the construction of ICT center for foreign medical doctors examination. This hall can pretty much serve that purpose. But if you decide to construct one, then we should at least ensure that we don't go overboard with the pricing. That's the second. And then the last is, while the chair here has requested for the submission of the comprehensive staff list, I took time to study your personnel release, and I see that at the first quarter, you put out almost almost 2 billion 900 million, which is almost 3 billion naira. The second quarter, the same, about 3 billion, and the third quarter, 3 billion. Do you have, at any time, critiqued the beneficiaries to know that amongst them there are no fake beneficiaries and you do not have ghost beneficiaries? Because I think this amount is also overboard. Thank you.
My question is related to the issue of disciplinary issues when it comes to, we've spoken about the issue of cookery, how it is handled. What of the misbehavior of the professionals? And I take one example of a case in Jos that medical practitioner is alleged to be harvesting organs. That case is on the news, it's all over. There is police case. In that instance, what is the role of the council in that particular type of case? What is your role?
Thank you.
We were called into it, we heard it, we were called into it, we investigated, and we found out that the person in question is not a registered medical practitioner and has no business attending to take the So that's the civil matter. Criminal in nature. So we actually dealt with that matter with the appropriate government agencies. And then in regards to the personnel, I think I've not seen the document you're looking at, but it will be surprising to know that we also cater for the house officers. They are also lumped into our personnel budget. So all you see there is not just for the about 270 or so staff that we have. We have house officers, well over 5,000 of them, that are paid, through IPPIS, but we budget for them because we have their details. And that's what the centralized housemanship posting took care of. Because in the past, there were lots of ghost house officers, across the country, and many of the training centers were not meeting up to the quota that they were asking for personnel costs for. So when we took this over, the government actually saved a lot of cost, in terms of personnel, paying house officers. And alternative medicine. Yes, this is part of the responsibility of council, given to council in 1992, when there was an amendment. So it's actually different from traditional medicine. When we talk about alternative medicine, we're talking about homeopathy, we're talking about acupuncture, we're talking about osteopathy, and we're talking about naturopathy. So these four are the core disciplines of alternative medicine. So a lot of time people, mix this up with traditional medicine, or the herbalists they call them. So alternative medicine has just these four disciplines. So what we've done in the past is that we register them. However, in registering them, the challenge has been that we don't have a training institution for alternative medicine in Nigeria. So we have a lot of quacks who claim to be alternative medicine practitioners, simply because they say, their grandfather or their fathers handed it over to them, and then they started practicing it. So we refuse to register such people. And such who have been registered in the past have been deregistered by the council. So right now, I think we have probably less than 40 registered alternative medicine practitioners in Nigeria. And the challenge is that we don't have a training institution in Nigeria. However, in the past, what we did was to try to develop the curriculum for training of alternative medicine practitioners in Nigeria, which we do have. But it's not our responsibility as a council to establish a training institution. We've liaised with the Federal Ministry of Health. They've tried to do this in the past, but it hasn't quite worked. So that's where we are with regulation of alternative medicine in Nigeria. And my colleague would add to what I've said.
Trying to do a 6th floor for that examination. If you go across the world, the regulatory bodies for medicine and dentistry, they have a place where they do their exams, like when they do PLAB in the UK. There are simulation materials, mannequins, all manner of things, that this place cannot serve as such. This place can only serve maybe for clinical exam, but there needs to be some like mannequins that can behave like humans that will be procured, and ICT materials, so many of them there. And the number we have actually every year is over 2,000 of them, and we do it twice in a year. So that's what we're trying to, and we're moving around like herdsmen. For today we're in Kano, tomorrow we're in Sokoto, next time we're in Ibadan and other places. So if we have our own place where we're doing the exam, that would be, that challenge will be solved and resolved for our people. Because when we go to the north, those in the south don't want to go. When we go to the south, those in the north don't want to come. So we want to centralize it here, so it can become seamless and easy for us to organize. Thank you.
Just to add, Mr. Chair, the center is an examination center, and there are various aspects of the examination. One is the computer-based test that the candidates do, and the other one is the clinical. And like my colleague was trying to describe, rather than use live patients, which the world now has departed from, we are trying to use simulators, right? So we have these mannequins that will mimic a patient and can be programmed electronically, to mimic various conditions like heart failure, kidney failure, and things like that, which the candidate will be examined. So that is why it's supposed to be a very special center. It's not what we can do on a plain floor like this, because there are various aspects of the examination. Thank you.
The junk aspect of that was And be careful of how your funding and how you do what you do with your IGRs, and make sure that at the end of the day you can give good value for the mandate that you're bearing. Thank you very much for giving us this attention.
Thank you very much.
So we could expand on your, leverage. I'd like to say this as the chairman of local content committee. We are going to look forward to partnering with NAFDAC so that we can convert one or two of our industrial tax, please give a section to that, for research and the development of ideas and products. And I believe right there we could also start engaging in some clinical research. I just took a moment to go through the net and I found out that Israel, amongst other countries, especially America, they are quite advanced now. They've taken a huge interest in alternative medicine. And it would interest people to know that some of the products that they investigate in are being sourced out of Africa, including Nigeria. So if our raw materials can be taken out of here into Israel or America and developed into drugs, then we should be able to invest resources to developing these products right here. So like I said, the local content, we're going to, I believe funding will not be an issue because we already have the funds domiciled at CBN and even Bank of Industry, and we will be working towards developing a collaboration so that the hubs, the building, the structures are already there. We could just convert a few of them into a high-tech hub for alternative medical and pharmaceutical research so that we could also support the startup companies. So thank you. I look forward to this collaboration.
Thank you.
Looking at your submission, I can see that towards the end, that special funded projects.
Yes.
And you seem to have a lot of money you have not expended. Are there conditions attached? Why do you still have this amount? And you did not state the purpose. You have
which?
Foundation, the money they have sent into NAFDAC. So, in line with our oversight responsibility, we want to know exactly what this foundation requires of you and what you have done in this respect. You can also use that same opportunity to answer the second question. Let us have details of this funding, international funding, and why you still have the money not used up. And I look at the few projects you have. Some of them are still ongoing, but you did not give us the date of award of those projects so that we can be abreast of what you're doing in terms of your capital and how long they have existed as projects. So you need to tell us, okay, look at what you have here. You said upgrade and redevelopment of that website. If you look at the amount is quite small. Such projects shouldn't be rolled over. Otherwise, you lose value in terms of the money and the service. So those projects, they are big win. You just achieve that. If you delay it, the problems you lose value for money and service. I think my corporation, the chairman has asked.
Because I noticed that there are offices in, like you have an office in a state capital.
Yes.
And then you're also building a separate office in that state capital. Is that true?
Right now, or typically rather, our offices are at the Secretariat, the Federal Secretariat, in almost all states. But since 3-4 years ago, we started building our own state office, or can be state zona, depending whether it is in the zonal headquarters. Because we found out that the offices, NAFDAC offices in the Secretariat are not conducive for business. Sometimes it is located on the 6th, 7th floor, and when you have customers going in and coming out, we found out that it is not conducive. Sometimes they want to bring samples, and they have to climb so many stairs. So we started building some state offices since 2021, and we are still continuing building state offices, and few of them now will have smaller laboratories where simple food items, water can be tested, so that the time to approval will be much faster. I hope I answer your questions. Yes.
Since you have a banner, thank you. Financial document as well. When I saw at the first page, no allocation for overhead, I was wondering, I said, these guys are magicians. Then I saw why. You saw why. You generate huge revenues. Now, you generate and spend, correct? Yes. The financial act and financial loss from the ground point of view, the revenues generated should be first move 100% consolidated revenue fund. How come this one is different? Is there any special approval allowing that, and the rest is one to go and then the document other special approval? 1, 2. Among the expenditures, I saw financial consultant. Financial consultant.
Okay, yes, sir.
One of the subjects. Yes. I was wondering what NAFDAC would do instead of medical or pharmacist consultant, financial consultant. What do you really for that financial consultant? It's over 100 million for NAFDAC. Whether you are raising capital, so you have financial consultant, what was it that you just gave? And finally, on second to last page,
yes, sir.
We run down the internet generated revenue page.
Yes, sir.
The last line down there, deductions for what? What purpose?
Okay.
What?
Thank you, sir. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation money was actually for two purposes. One is for our track and trace project, where we use barcoding to track where a medicine goes. And this is particularly true during the pandemic. We use track and trace technology to track all the medicines, all the vaccines that came into the country. And we used part of the money to build a traceability information system, where if you name a badge or ask badge 1, badge 2 or whatever of Pfizer, where did those badge, that particular badge go? Where did it go? We can just press a button and it will show the map of Nigeria in terms of distribution. The second part of the funding is, or the second purpose is for what is called Outer NEPAD or AU Smart Safety Surveillance. It was also during the pandemic. It was used to train our people to do safety monitoring, adverse event following immunization all throughout the country. We also got support from technical support from MHRA, that is the UK sister agency. So your observation was quite well placed. We should have done that. I will yield the floor to my Director of Finance to respond to the Consolidated Revenue Fund and then the Financial Consultant and also OAGF at source.
Your job. And I know you track giving, and I'm sure that's how you beat the activities. This is the same tracking you're supposed to achieve, and it's in at the port. You know, get them.
On the sea is the actually tracking or transloading or whatever. But again, your comment is very logical. But this tracking that I mentioned is tracking of the product itself, the secondary package of the product that has the barcode. What we did during the pandemic is to do what is called commissioning, which is actually scanning the barcoding into our database at the central warehouse, the cold store warehouse of primary health. Because we decided during the pandemic that there will only be one source, one entry point for all vaccines, so that we can do the due diligence. Once we now track that secondary package, the barcoding, which it will tell us when it was manufactured, what was in it and what not, it is then it moves from the capital to the zones, from the zones to the states, and then depending on whether that secondary package is broken or not, we can track to the local government. If the local government is very small, it means that secondary package will be broken. We will only track to the state. But if it's a big local government where we need to send a lot of these bigger boxes, we can track to the local government. So that is the tracking in this case. But what you are pointing to is something that we are planning to do. And we're going to be using artificial intelligence to do that. Meaning, if we have what is called certificate of pharmaceutical product that each importer is supposed to have, if again we use technology to put that in a global database, then we can know where that particular product that started in Australia, for example, where it is at any time. NAFDAC is the second African country that is part of that verification traceability initiative. It's a global initiative. We are actually the one leading in that initiative. The second country is Rwanda. So that is what we are working towards. We call it TRUST, TRVST. But your comment is well placed. That's where we are going. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Current approach, where you're doing all the postings.
Only that I will start with the narrative. Whatever you need, it is this committee that will appropriate that money. If we are not sure that you need that money will never stop.
Needs additional funding, isn't it? But if you didn't give us this document or this information, how are you going to respond? So I think you have to be, because you said 2021, I don't like 2021. Even the audited account.
The audited account, most tax says, and what the taxes was, we will get to general for them to come for issues. The audited account for 2021 is very ready. Then we have all the reports here. We have the report.
Okay, we would like to have them. Second, the question I want to, because last time, first of all, I don't know, maybe because I am a very old doctor, I don't know when did you centralize the housemanship thing, and what is the rationale behind centralizing housemanship instead of the way it used to be, where you finish, you go to wherever you want. Once the hospital has the required number of consultants, then you can be registered and the hospital will be the one that will be responsible. As long as the consultants are certified to certify house officers. I don't know when this thing was decentralized and what is the rationale, and is this a very good?
Is it working?
Is it working? Yeah. Is it working?
Thank you. The institutions are funded by the federal government, so it does not have to do with states, the private, or the military or paramilitary training institutions.
Okay.
So just the federal. Now, this started a long time ago, but in 2017, it became a burning issue. And what happened was that many of our young doctors, after the contract, many of us here who are sitting who are doctors actually also faced the same thing when we were in our younger days. We go around the country looking for a place to do our house job. And you get to a particular center, and they say they only have 50 spots. And we're about probably 200-300 seeking housemanship employment. And then you see people coming with letters from the high offices, from the military, even from the National Assembly, wanting a place to do this job. And then those who do not have those kind of contacts, strong contacts, to get those positions, don't get it. They will attend interviews and they're not taken. And then the council was disturbed about this, and we approached our parent ministry. And with their support, we're able to get across to the Federal Executive Council that gave that approval for the posting to be centralized at the federal training institutions. And the council should manage the whole process. And when it comes to managing, the payment is done by the Office of the Accountant General through the IPPIS. So they pay them directly. We don't pay. We only just do the administrative work to be sure that, the house officer was at the duty post, and then it gets clearance from the training institutions. And once we get that, we send it across to IPPIS for payment every month. Now, to your question, whether this process is working, the system, the program is working, I would say yes, it's working. It's better than what it used to be. It may not be perfect yet, because it actually kicked off in 2021, April 2021 to be precise. And since then, we've been actually evaluating the process on a monthly basis and trying to improve, on the process. So now, what happens is that when a doctor graduates or finishes gets provisionally registered by the council, he has to proceed for the housemanship. They don't need to talk to anyone anymore. They go directly to the portal. We have a portal, functional portal, 24/7. They go in there, and once there are vacancies in any of the federal institutions of their choice, they take it. They don't need to know anyone. So it's working to a very, very large extent. And I think the younger doctors are happier with this process that is on ground now.
Thank you very much, sir, for the questions, and very well. Before now, you will see a doctor that finished school for 4 years, 3 years, roaming the streets across the country for peaceful housemanship. What is happening is that some of them that have done housemanship in the states or in the federal will now go again the second time. They call it SMJ, Second Missionary Journey. So they keep doing housemanship. I don't know whether I know about it before during your time. So the quality control journey continue to do housemanship where those that really require that are not there. And some centers, they were selling these spaces, sir. Though they put exams for you to, after having a training in the university, you finish school, they now put the exam again for you, just to weed people and select some few. In some places, we saw that they were selling some spaces. So when we took over this system, we were able to correct this, excesses. Some people you will see a name, Sekina, on the portal, but the account's details is Dr. Guerrero. So just try to frustrate this process when we started. So if we catch you like that, we will make sure we withdraw your license until you do the right thing. Even till today, some people are resigning. They will just stop going. But you can never get someone else to do housemanship unless you refund all the money that you have been paid. That's what making it easier for us to continue to pay them continuously. So the system is seamless now, but the challenge is that we are only in charge of 43 institutions. They have added a new one in the state, no fees. The Obstetric Physical Center, they have added, make it 43. So all the states, private, military, and missions are still on their own. And there is pressure now on the federal because they are paying better than the other places. So everybody prefers to do with the federal. That's number one. Number two, there's pressure also on the FCT. Because people want to do housemanship in a place where there are senators and members of the House of Assembly. They want to know big men. So that's the pressure we are getting from the ministries, from the Senate, from everywhere. Everybody, that's the only way we are getting pressure. Anybody you see today that is looking for a space for housemanship wants to be in Abuja. Without that, everybody is well accommodated, even with the only 43 that we are asking. And we're also praying, if it is possible, the way they do youth service, that they can, government can also, since it's part of their training and education, they can also make laws to include the states. Then the problem of housemanship will be solved very early.
How are we necessarily going to come into this? It has to come from you. Tell us how the senators or the House of Representatives or the National Assembly can help better this. Is it through additional funding or laws or whatever? But it has to emanate from you. Because the moment if you didn't talk, we don't talk.
Yes, sir. That's why I'm bringing it up, sir. Yes, sir. No, whatever the federal government is, yes. No. Yes, I don't know.
They are not covered. They are not covered. They are not covered.
They are.
They have a
structured salary.
It's the NHIS or IPP.
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
12 months continuous. Yes. But they are under insurance. The insurance that they pay during their registration.
Oh, okay.
They have professional indemnity insurance for 2 years.
For 2 years. So that covers them.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. For the facilities, in conjunction with the practitioner and not the facility. The facilities are in health facilities across the country. So we, as a council, the need arises. For example, we get a case, there's a quack doctor, unless licensed or registered practitioner somewhere around the country. We will liaise with the directors of medical services of those states, and if need be, we go to also add to that investigation activity that takes place at the state and the FCT. Yeah, we do have some reports. I'll allow my colleague from.
What the challenges we are having is that a quack can be arrested, but we don't have the jurisdiction. We cannot prosecute them. It can only be handed over to the police. The police can take them to court. What we only do as a council or the is just to go to the court as a witness, to tell that this is not a doctor. That's the only thing you can do. Doctors, dentists, and alternative practitioners. Now, like he pointed out earlier, those are the ones that the law gives us jurisdiction over the practitioners. And the law also makes a requirement that persons in society have to lodge formal complaints against doctors for their conduct, things they did or failed to do while carrying out their duties. And we do that robustly. We have an investigation panel that receives the complaints, conducts investigation, and the ones that they deem necessary that there is evidence, they refer to the disciplinary tribunal for those doctors to be tried and, if necessary, be sanctioned as provided by the law. Between 2019 and end of last year, when the tenure of the last tribunal ended, they were able to deal with up to about 89 doctors and dentists that their matter got to the level of the tribunal. Out of them, 3 persons' names were erased. 3 doctors were erased from the register. That is, by the provision of the law, that means they have ceased
to become
doctors under the law. 3 persons, including a professor. I just thought I should add this aspect to the discussion.
Why we are also appropriate sanctions.
Yes, if I could add this. One of the problems that we have had was the impediment whereby, for example, the tenure is legally it will be difficult to have a tribunal. And because there's a bill before the National Assembly which had been passed by the Senate. It was a Senate bill. It was passed in 2021 by the Senate. It was for concurrence by the House of Reps. Unfortunately, they didn't get to do that before that assembly.
The 9th Assembly.
The 9th Assembly, yes. Now, in that bill, one of the provisions is these issues of was corrected, if I may put it that way, in the sense that the tribunal can sit even when, for whatever reason, the council is not in place. And 2, for the sanctions, currently the extant law is that the tribunal can rate out only 3 sanctions. 1, which is the most severe, erasure from the register, or suspension from practice for not more than 6 months, or just to admonish the doctor. We agree that that was not adequate. So in the bill, the provision was made that suspension could be for up to 18 months, and it could be extended if deemed necessary. And all that at least to
if the offense is criminal?
No, if it is criminal, it is outside our jurisdiction. The Supreme Court has held several that when the matter is criminal, it has to go to the regular court. It is after the regular courts have adjudicated and if we found the person guilty of a criminal offense, then we will use that conviction, not to deprive the person of the conviction in itself, to determine whether or not a doctor who has been found guilty of such an offense should continue to be a member of the profession. Thank you.
Let me names of staff, qualifications, present appointments, promotions, as agent appointments, and states of origin.
And then the cut-off percentage under amount utilized. Now, I think you took the amount utilized as a percentage of the budgeted amount, not the released amount. Am I correct?
It's the amount utilized. You know, the report is up to November 2020.
I hope you understand.
Yes, it's
If
a
you
typical.
take it, this percentage.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yes. So taking amount utilized divided by amount released to give you this percentage.
Yes.
Not amount budgeted. Because it has not been released, so you can't utilize.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Then I believe you have areas where you have income, like Deputy Minister said earlier. Where you take 30% association tax, 70, right?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there are revenues that you will have to use them within here. Is that correct? Yeah. What law allows you to use these revenues generated without waiting consolidated revenue?
Our act.
Who allowed you to use this, to expend these revenues generated without waiting consolidated revenue?
The act and the establishments.
Okay. Thank you. If that is the case, keep it handy.
Yes, sir.
Because it's an infraction area that you need that act to defend yourself whenever, wherever. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Where our payment or external auditors and as well as finance and account as an accounting package that we call SAP Business by Design. The service providers, the money given to them comes under this financial consultancy too. Then regarding the deductions by Office of Accountant General, according to the Fiscal Responsibility Commission Act, all those MDAs that generate revenue are expected to render part of their revenue to the treasury. Unfortunately for NAFDA, despite the fact that the services that the money that we collect is meant for the servicing of rendering of services to our clients, we are still being regarded as a revenue generated agency. That is why Office of Accountant General dips hands into our revenue. The gateway of our accounts in CBN is the remitter. Immediately any of our clients makes payments into that account, they deduct at source. As at the end of September, that's between January and September, that is the total being disclosed here is the amount that they have taken so far from our revenue. And this one is even telling negatively on the service that we are rendering to our clients. Thank you, sir.
And then okay, you've taken care of it.
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to see your updated comprehensive nominal rule.
Nominal rule.
Nominal rule, yes. Stating the names of your workers, dates of appointment, dates of last promotion, qualifications, and states of origin. Can we get that before we leave?
Yes.
Let them submit it.
Or you can send to us?
Let them send it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There have been some group of people, the hemophiliacs, I think.
Yes.
I'm sure they tried to reach to you. They get some donations of some products which are life-saving, but they have extreme difficulty getting this out for them. That's why, like this trackability thing that you're talking about,
yes.
If you functionalize it and make it very effectual, it will help to ease the way for genuine things that are coming out to help out. Most of these things are actually donations, but they are left at the ports for so long that by the time you get to the patient, they're already almost expiring. And these are just donations, you know, they've been sent free by goodwill people from other places. So I think you should, I like this idea of you saying Nigeria is leading in this trackability thing. I just love that. I want you to work it out and to see it fully functionalized and effective and effectual so that you can plug those ones that are bad for our people, that are harmful for our people, and allow those ones that can come in and be beneficial to our people. So thank you for the good job that you're doing on that.
Thank you. And for this oversight visit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Look at the NCDC garden. Wait,
See, I'm not the main president.
I expect you to come and meet me. Go to ask that. I get her. When you were calling with you, why no?
kept the
Power, distribution, development, training, and inspectorate of this the doctors and other of this sector, of the health sector particularly. So we want to know a bit about, for instance, what strategies are you putting in place to increase funding for your as a professional, as a regulatory body? Do you have any strategies that you use to bring up your funding, to enable you to do some of the things that you need to do as a professional body, as a regulatory body, sorry. Yes.
Thank you very much.
You can sit down, don't worry, sit down, just answer.
We learned about the self-funding of the council, which will take effect from January 2024. However, we fund our activities from our stakeholders. We provide regulation. Activities will include operational services and distribution partners. Out to practitioners from time to time, and then they have some other forms of registration. When they have their specialist qualification, we offer registration, additional qualification registration. And for all of these services, we do provide some charges to them, which they pay. And from the fees they pay, we use it to provide those services. The challenge we have is that the bulk of these fees comes from the annual practicing license, which is annually. And by the provision of the law, which is in our act, we actually have a sharing formula with our professional association, which is Nigerian Medical Association. So for every fee that a doctor pays for practicing license, 70% of that amount goes to the Nigerian Medical Association, while the council retains 30% as for our admin services that we provide. So this is quite a huge challenge for the council if we are going to be self-funded. But your question is, what have we done to improve the funding of the council internally? I would say that we are still waiting for clear directives from the government on how we are going to navigate this self-funding. So in recent time, we've not increased the fees. So we still maintain the fees we've charged even from last year, and that's what the practitioners pay. And then for other services, like in our medical education department, we carry out accreditation services. We carry out accreditation exercises to about 48 training institutions in the country. And we expect that the institutions, when they invite us for accreditation, which usually occur at about every 4 years, they pay fees for that, and it's from that fee that we pay the resource persons. We pay the resource persons and also the members of staff that will be detailed to attend that activity. Also, we have, in the medical education, we have the internship training. The same thing happens when we go for accreditation of the internship training centers. They usually would pay accreditation fee, and it's from that we would carry out the activities. But to say that the fees they pay are usually not sufficient to carry out those activities in full. So sometimes we have to take funds from what we get from the practicing fees and all the other registration fees to supplement those, augment those activities. So that's a challenge there. And in our professional discipline, there's no source of income that comes from that activity, because it's like a judicial panel to try erring practitioners. So it's quasi-judicial in nature. So these are the activities and areas we generate our revenues. So we actually carry out the activities through these sources of funds annually. Yes, I think we do, but our accountants probably will enlighten us more on that.
Under the account.
Audited? 2022? 2021? Okay. I'm told we have up to 2021 audited accounts. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Now, in view of the planning to be able to address this expansion, because your duties cover training, cover inspectorate, cover registration, and so on. So this whole expansion in numbers of intakes for medical students and other intakes. Now, how are you prepared to build capacity to be able to work with this increase?
Okay. I'm aware that the council has taken some steps in line with discussions with our parent ministry. And one of that is to contact and liaise with the deans and provosts of the medical institutions, and also for the internship training centers to liaise with the offices of the chief medical directors and the medical directors of the teaching hospitals and the federal medical centers. So I think they have been notified of these changes, and to try to meet some certain requirements before those quotas are allotted to them, because they are very critical, so that we do not bring down the standard as such. But I would allow my colleague, who has been the one directly interfacing with the ministry, together with the registrar on this. Thank you.
The registrar directed a letter to be written to the committee, the chairman committee of vice chancellors, to inform them of the decision to double quotas across the country, and also raised another letter to the chairman committee of CMDs across the country and to all the provosts. And another letter was sent to the registrar of JAMB, because they need to be carried along, and he went in person to discuss with the NUC, executive secretary of NUC. Now, following on from that letter, a meeting has been slated for 13th in this place, in this auditorium, with all the provosts in the country to see how that is going to work out. The reason is that currently in the country, it was discovered that across all the schools in Nigeria, the candidates that pass and qualify for admission are well over 300 in each of those schools. But because of the quota, they cannot gain access, get admission to enter the school to study. So, and if they are not admitted, next time, we don't know what happens. They may never do medicine again, they may never pass again. So that is one way they want to relax the quota. That's what they're coming to discuss. I can relax the quota to accommodate all these people that are qualified for admission this year. Then number two, there's an arrangement to double all the quotas of carrying capacity for teaching hospitals for housemanship. Because as they're finishing from school, they also need a place to do housemanship. And the tool that we are using there is that usually we have one consultant training 3 doctors, house officers, but now it will relax for one to train 6. That will automatically double the quota. But what is on ground, only thing they needed to do is to get accommodation for these people within 5 miles. That's about 8 kilometers from the institution. So they can be accommodated, somewhere. So they won't be around in places that they don't know about, renting houses, in an environment they're not used to for their own security. So I'm sure this way, within now and early this year, the program will successfully take effect, and doubling of the quotas for both university education and the housemanship will be effectively implemented. Thank you, ma'am.
Current approach, where you're doing all the postings.
Only that I will start with